if I look at yesterday, what the entire goal focus of yesterday was really this, okay? I really wanted all of you guys to start thinking a lot about these 4 questions, okay? We talked about it a lot. Who is the actual person that you want to be working with? Who's your dream client? Second is, where are those people at? Okay? Then we talked about the bait you need to go in to get them. And the last is where you want to take them. We talked about the value ladder and everything else like that. So that was kind of what we covered yesterday. Now today, this is like my favorite part of this whole business, is everything we're talking about today. And I'm fired up. Like if you were to, when we do like our personal things where people hire us to come to our office and like help us build out their business, this is what I spend most of the time with. They'll come in and they'll be like, Russell, here's what I got. And they lay down all their stuff. And then I get out, we have a wall in our office. It's just pure whiteboard. We bought this whiteboard paint, just painted it up. And we sit down for hours and we just map out their funnel. It's my favorite part of this entire business. And so we're gonna go through today, and during the process, you're gonna learn kind of the thought process I go through. And I'm gonna show you guys all the funnels that we do, and then you're gonna have, hopefully by the end, have the skill set to be able to kind of map out and create the funnel that's the right one for you guys, for each of your individual businesses. So it should be kind of fun. And it's going to go a lot more into that bait part. But if you look at, like, as a whole, what today is going to be about, it's this right here. This is kind of the core funnel, right? We talked about a lot of pieces yesterday. We got 3 types of traffic: traffic you control, traffic you don't control, and traffic that you own. Okay, traffic control you're putting through Squeeze Page. Don't control, it's going through some kind of blog. There's the email sequence happening here, and then you have your offer here, your value ladder, your continuity. Okay, now this piece right here, your Squeeze Page, your offer, your value, your continuity, this stuff right here, this picture is very generic, but that's your funnel right here. So I'm going to show you guys a whole bunch of ways, because what this looks like can be different for every single business. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys kind of the core ones that we do and that we use, and you guys can model those and use them over and over again. So today is going to be a lot of kind of going through this kind of stuff. So I'm excited. Okay. So I'm just going to jump right in. We're going to start with the first part, which is a lot of the psychology of a funnel. And I wish that when I first got started, somebody would have showed me this stuff. I didn't ever know this. When I first got started, my very first, I had a couple first products. My potato gun product was one of my first ones. I'm going to talk about that in a little bit. But my first product I really put a lot of effort in was this little software product called ZipBrander. And I remember when I first did it, all I did is, I think I told you yesterday, I saw all of Armin Morin's software products. I'm like, I'm going to model it exactly the same. So I set up a website, looked exactly the same as his. It had his little header graphic right here, had like a e-cover box, had my brand name, had a headline, had some text, had a headline. And then he charged his $67, so I charged $67. I just copied it exactly. And that was my whole business, right? Now, for most of us, when you're online, you're looking at what your competitors are doing, looking at what people are doing, and you're going out there, you see this part of their business, right? You're like, oh, I know what they're doing. That's their business. But the reality, when you start, when you think about it, like the part you're seeing is this thing right here, right? That's the part that's visible that most people are seeing. But I'm sure you guys have heard this a million times. It's the tip of the iceberg. All the stuff down here is happening that's behind the scenes that you don't even know is happening. Okay, so that's my job for today, is kind of demystify all that to show you guys all of this. Because a lot of times you can go to a company and just kind of knock off and do what they do, and you look exactly the same as theirs, and you start driving traffic, you're like, how come I can't make money with this? And they can. Okay, the problem is that you're doing this part, you're doing the tip of the iceberg, you're doing the stuff that they can see. All the other stuff, all the underground hidden stuff that's happening that makes this offer actually work, most of you guys don't know what that is. So that's kind of the job today, is to really kind of explain and show you guys the rest of the iceberg. Because when you understand this, now you've got a real business. That's where you can make your big money, okay? So for ZipBrander, we didn't do all this for that, but for other products, there are all these other things we learned, right? We learned that after somebody buys things, what can we do? There's other pages, other steps you can do to make money. We also learned there's things you can do before the page that increases how much money you make. And then there's things before that page, and there's all these different phases that you take somebody through that all have incremental changes that increase how much money you make on the funnel as a whole. And so what I'm going to walk you guys through is basically there are 7 phases that I take somebody through in my funnel. Okay, we're going to go through from 1 to 7, and hopefully at the end you guys will understand what all of these pieces are, why they're important. And so that's the first part here. And the second part of this, I'm actually going to go back and, because right now I'm showing you guys the conceptual part, and the next I'm going to show you guys the actual the building blocks. So for this phase, here's here's the 7 types of pages I use for that. Pick whichever one you want, and then the second one and the third one, okay? So the first one will be more conceptual, next will be very tangible. You guys can look exactly and just model and use it. So this is the graphic that kind of walks you guys through the seven phases. So step number 1 in this funnel, I call it traffic temperature. Okay, and I wish somebody would explain this to me when I first got started because it took me a long time to understand it. Okay, this is a quote from Gene Schwartz that's really, really important to ties into this traffic temperature stuff. So this is what he said. Gene Schwartz is one of the early marketing copywriter guys from the early part of the century. He was just a brilliant guy. He said, if your prospect is aware of your product and realizes that it can satisfy his desire, your headline starts with your product. If he's not yet aware of your product, but only of the desire itself, your headline starts with the desire. If he is not yet aware of what he really seeks, but is concerned only with the general problem, your headline starts with that problem and crystallizes it into a specific need. Okay? So let me explain that. There's a level of awareness for everybody in here, right? When you first got online, most of you guys probably got online, you're like, I want to make money. Right? That was the first thing. That was where. All you knew is I wanted to make money. Okay? And so your level of awareness is there's benefit. There's this thing I want. I know I need it. Okay? As you get online for a while, you start learning some stuff. You become more aware and more aware. And somewhere online, you're like, man, I need to figure out how to set up a website. Okay? You're more aware than you were before. That's why you got a website. You're like, I got a website. I got to figure out how in the world you use WordPress. Okay? You're even more aware. And then you figure out, I got to figure out how to drive traffic. You become more and more aware, right? Every single market has that process happening. Okay, so cold traffic is somebody who has no idea what they need. They just want this benefit. I want to make money. I want to lose weight. Okay, warm traffic is the person in the middle who knows kind of some stuff and they're more aware of it. And hot traffic is the person who's like, I bought 1,000 internet marketing courses. I want the next one because I know this is the next thing, right? I'm in shape. I got a 6-pack. I'm awesome, but I want to take it to the next level. Like that's the hot person. Okay, so if you look at this, we've got here's our hot. Here's our cold. On this side, you've got most aware and back here. So you got most aware, then you got product aware, then you've got solution aware, problem aware, and then they're unaware. Okay, does that make sense? So the cold traffic starts with unaware. Like I don't even know that I want to make money. I'm just here. Okay. All right, so we're going to talk a lot about that also tomorrow when we go into inception, understanding how you sell people. But it starts with traffic because the place I'm going to take somebody is going to be completely different depending on where they are in the awareness cycle. Okay. For example, if I go to somebody and they, like I go to a joint venture partner and they've already got a list of prospects that have been on their list for a year. They've been selling them internet marketing stuff. These people are very, very aware. So the page I'm going to drive those people to is going to be way different than the page I'm going to drive somebody who has never heard of internet marketing before ever. That makes sense? Okay. Most people don't understand that. They create this page and it's like, it looks awesome. This is what everyone else's page looks like. And then they send it to the wrong temperature of traffic and it doesn't convert. And like, why didn't that work? You have to understand that that people have different pages for different situations. Okay. So if you know that your primary way of making sales is going to be joint venture partners, right? Joint venture partners usually have their own list. It's going to be a hot list. The kind of pages you are going to do are very product specific. Okay? If you go into and you're buying solo ads, for example, like to a news site where people aren't that aware, they're not like product aware. So I can't say like, hey, buy my new product. It's called .com secrets, whatever. They're more solution aware. Then my headline and my copy, my page, all that kind of stuff is going to be tied into something more like discover how to build your business. Okay, they don't know .com secrets is. It doesn't help them at all. But they know they got a business. They need to make it better. So I'm going to be more solution aware. And then if they have a problem, cold traffic is like, you're broke. Want to learn how to make money? Does that make sense? So that's what I'm talking about with traffic temperature. So you have to understand that when you're creating your pages. So I like to think about it first. Like when I'm starting this, where's my traffic going to be coming from? And I'm going to create my initial funnel, my initial landing page based on that. Okay? So if you have your own email list, typically, and they know you and you're building a new funnel for your own list, you're probably going to be more on the product aware stuff. Here's my new product coming out. Here's the new thing. Okay? If you're going on Facebook, my guess is probably more solution aware. If you're targeting, like let's say I've got my green drink product going and I'm going to be advertising on all these natural health sites. They might not know my product yet, but they're very solution aware. So let me show you this new solution on how I do whatever it is. And then if it's some like I'm just spamming the whole world, then you come back to just problem aware, like, hey, you're overweight, or hey, you're not healthy, or whatever it might be. Okay? So that's the first part, is understanding the traffic temperature. All right? Okay, now after you understand that, the next is something we call the pre-frame bridge. Okay? The pre-frame, interestingly enough, as little as this is probably one of, if not the most important parts of the entire funnel. The first time I ever learned this and saw it in action, I got asked to speak at Armin Morin's big seminar, back when he was doing his big seminar. And before the event, he kind of pulled me aside and he said, what do you want me, how do you want me to introduce you? And I was like, I don't know, just whatever. And then he said, I got to tell you something. He's like, the most important part of your entire presentation is how I introduce you. He's like, you will either make sales or you're not going to make sales depending on how I introduce you. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, just trust me. He's like, as you keep continuing on as a speaker, you'll find out that however you're pre-framed, however you're pre-positioned, when you step up there on stage, has 100% to do with how much you're going to sell in the back of the room. So I was like, all right. So he went up there and he made me, like, talk me up, made me sound awesome. I came up there, did my presentation, I killed it, made a bunch of money. And then I got asked to speak at Bill Glazer's event. And Bill's one of my, like, he's like my marketing dad. Like, he's one of my favorite people in the world. But if you ever seen Bill speak, he's very dry and very like, hey, this is Russell, he's awesome. Russell, come on up. So I come on up, and I'm all excited, I'm walking around, and the audience is like half asleep, and I start doing my thing, and I'm teaching, I'm giving like all I got, and nobody's really responding to me, and I'm trying to get them all excited. I'm just like, I do my sell at the end, and like everyone's still sitting there. I'm just like, come on, guys, that was awesome. And like, has anyone here done stage presentations before? Okay, the worst feeling on planet Earth, like I would rather get run over by a car than you do your pitch, and you look around and nobody budges, and you're like, I have to walk through all you to get to the back now. And everybody's looking back to see if anyone else is moving, and no, it's horrible. And I was like, crap, this is embarrassing. I was like just devastated. And so then Bill asked me next year to come speak again for him. I'm like, I don't know like if I want to, like, it's a huge opportunity, but I don't know if I want to speak again. And all of a sudden I remembered in my head what Armin had said. You gotta make sure your pre-frame is good. And I said, well, I know Bill's never gonna be able to pre-frame me good, so I have an idea. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have, and between that presentation and next, I had spoken at Tony Robbins' event. And Tony, when he introduces you, it's like people are going nuts. Like it's the craziest thing in the world. So I had this videotape of Tony introducing me. And so I was like, I have an idea. I'm going to make a video that has a whole bunch of testimonials of people. Zan was in there, a couple other people, their testimonials. And at the end of it, I'm going to have Tony Robbins, like a video of him introducing me and getting everybody standing up and clapping and screaming. And so when I came to Bill, I was like, hey, this is my only request. I don't want you to introduce me. I want you to introduce a video about me. He's like, why? I'm like, I don't know, just try it out. So he's like kind of grumpy and like, all right, whatever. So he gets up there, he's like, our next speaker wants me to show you a video about him. And he like goes off, pushes play, and the lights go down. And all of a sudden this video comes up, and I got testimony, boom, 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 music, entertainment, like all this stuff. And then all of a sudden Tony Robbins comes out. Everyone get your hands up for Russell Brunson. And he starts clapping, and the music starts pumping, and everybody in the audience is on their feet cheering and screaming. I run down, I come on that stage, and like I was just like, this is awesome. And I spoke, everyone was captivated. When I sold at the end, we crushed it. Okay? So the pre-frame has so much to do when you're speaking, but it has so much to do in all parts of your business. Okay? I'll give you a couple more examples. Another really cool story that helped me to understand this principle. There's a book called Sway. Has anyone read the book Sway? It's really, really cool. BJ, a couple of you guys have read it. One of the stories he talks about in there is they were testing this concept of pre-framing and how it alters the selling process, or how it alters people's perceptions. And they went into a college class with like 300 students or so, and they came in and said, hey, your teacher's not here today, but we have a substitute teacher. But before he comes in to teach you, we wanted to pass out a biography so you can just kind of know a little bit about who he is. And so they took this paper and they had a paragraph about, hey, it's Mr. So-and-so, he did this, what it's kind of his credentials. And the very last sentence said, a lot of people consider Mr. So-and-so a warm teacher. And then that was what half of the biography said. And the other half of the biography said, a lot of people consider Mr. So-and-so to be a very cold teacher. Every other word was exactly the same. One said he was warm, one said he was cold. Handed out these things out to everybody. They all read it, handed them back in, and they tracked who got which ones. And then the teacher came in and he did his 90-minute presentation and taught us stuff. And then he left, and the person came back and said, hey, we want you to survey him really quick on his teaching style, what you guys thought. So they surveyed everyone in the audience, and they matched it with what pre-frame, which biography they had read ahead of time. And it was interesting, like all of the people that said he was warm was like, man, he was a great teacher. He's very empathetic. I feel like he really cared about me as a student. and just I think he's a great teacher. And then he took the ones all the people who had said he was cold, and he's like, that guy was really just kind of put me off. I felt like he was talking down to me. I didn't like the entire experience. I don't think he'd be a good teacher. I would not recommend him. It's interesting how one little word can change and shift so much. Think about when you meet a girl. You go up to a girl and you're like, hey, how you going? My name's Russell. Or if your buddy's like, or a girlfriend or something introduces you, it changes the whole thing, right? So pre-frames are hugely important. And we're talking about pre-frame right here from this step in the process. But this pre-framing works. The biggest spot is right here, but I want to specify that this is happening at every single step in this process as well. Okay, I'm using pre-framing before I do almost anything I do. I'm trying to do some kind of pre-frame. Okay, because if I can affect that frame that somebody's going to walk through before they get to me, it's going to change the entire experience afterwards. Okay, yeah. So pre-framing is huge. I remember another thing. Mark Joyner is one of my very first mentors ever, and I didn't get it when he told me this, when I heard this the first time. But he was talking about. I remember he said. He said, do you think all clicks on the internet are created equal? And I thought about that. I said, I'm sure there's different sources are better or worse, but I think for the most part, they're people, right? They're just people clicking on your ad. Like, I don't think there's that big of a difference between what's happening. And he came back and said, no, all clicks are not created equal. He said, for example, think about if there was an ad out there and it said, Russell Brunson is a scam artist. He stole my money. I went bankrupt because of him. Every word of advice he ever gave me was wrong, and I hope he dies. Click here to see his new product. Okay? And then there's an ad that says, Russell Brunson's amazing, changed my life. Everything he's taught me, it's like the Midas touch. Everything I do now turns to gold, and I owe it all to Russell. Click here. Same click, same person. What's going to happen on the next page? Okay? So these pre-framing things are crazy important. One good example of just how stupid and how little a pre-frame is, but how big of an impact. In the .com Secrets Labs book, we shared this study, but we had a squeeze page. And the squeeze page at the top, I had like 3 steps. Step 1, put your email. Step 2, or step 1, I can't remember. Step 1 was like do something, or get started, access. And step 3, it said finish. Okay, so just one word was finish. And so we were testing that versus step 3 saying get started. So one said get started, and one said finish. F-I-N-I-S-H. Anyway, finish. Right? And so we start driving traffic through here, and what's cool is when you do testing the right way, you can see your test, what happens to the person all the way throughout the sales funnel. And so what we started running tests here, and what we found is by having the word finish here, it increased our conversion rate on our landing page. I was like, how cool is that? Like, it was so cool. We were saying, like, when people see the third step is finished, I'm done, that increased our conversion. So we're like all excited. We had like, 23% increase in conversion, something like that. And at first we're celebrating. I'm like, cool, just kill the other one. That one's not going to work anymore. Let's just get rid of it. And then Todd, the guy who does our testing, he's like, wait, hold on. He's like, wait, hold on. And he started looking at all the things. He's like, okay, this is interesting. He's like, it increased our conversions on the front end, but on the next page we're trying to sell him something. And he said it dramatically decreased our conversions on the next page. I was like, wait, what? And so we started looking at it, and we started thinking about it. And within a few minutes, I had this epiphany, this idea. I was like, I think the reason why, and you never know with testing, but when it said finished, people were more excited. Like, oh, cool, I'm done. So it got higher conversion rate. But in their mind, this frame had just shut. Like, okay, we're done. Sweet, I'm done. And all of a sudden, I'm like, hey, I'm going to sell you something. And they're like, wait, what? I thought I was finished. And because of that, just that little one-word frame, like, cut our conversions in half. Isn't that weird? So having it say get started, now this frame they came through, they no longer was it like get started, or now no longer was I'm finished. Now it's like let's get started. They're like, hey, I'm getting started. What's the next thing? And boom, increased conversions. One word change. Isn't that crazy? We saw very similar things in our one-time offers. I'll show you guys here in a minute. Our one-time offers used to be like, thanks so much for your order. We appreciate your business. We're shipping this thing out to you. Now, I got another special offer for you. What did I just do? I just closed this loop, right? Everything's done. It's good. Don't worry about it. I'm going to sell you the next thing. Conversion's never that good. We changed it to, wait, before you go on, your order's not yet complete. Really quick, I want to see if you want to add this to your order at a huge discount. Okay, I kept that loop open, and the frame they came through was like, wait, I can make this better. I can do the next thing. Huge increase in conversion. So there's all these little pre-framing things you can do throughout the funnel. But right now, the biggest one, I think the biggest pre-frame is when somebody clicking on your ad to where they end up, what are they going through? What's the process they're going through? Because that's going to warm them up, cool them down, and get them to do the right thing for you. Now, Now, typically, depending on the type of traffic, the temperature of your traffic is going to depend on what your pre-frame, how extensive it needs to be. For very, very cold traffic, typically your pre-frame needs to be more. Okay, and I'm going to show you guys some examples of review sites and article sites and quizzes and stuff we do, because if they're cold, you've got to do more through this pre-frame to get them prepared to be able to buy from you. Over here, when they're somebody who loves you, trusts you, knows you, the pre-frame is usually a lot shorter because they've already built up that relationship, that bond, and so it's a lot easier. A lot of times I can even just send them, like usually the email I send out to my list is the pre-frame. Okay, where over here, I take them from an email to a page, then to my page. Okay, and I'll show you guys examples of this after we go through all 7 steps so you can see exactly the tactics behind it. But conceptually, does that make sense to you guys? Cool. All right, so that is step number 2. All right, step number 3 now. The first thing I'm trying to do when I'm driving all this traffic through my funnel, it's all about qualifying people, finding out how serious they are. Because I'm in a market and advertise people differently depending on how committed they are, right? So my very first goal when I'm driving this traffic through, and I want to find out of all the people I send on the website, all the 1,000 or 10,000 or 100,000 people that come to my website, who on my website is willing to trade me their email address in exchange for information. If they're willing to trade me their email address in exchange for something else, that person's way more qualified than everybody else. Okay? Excuse me. So I take them through a step or a process that I call a squeeze page. Some people call it the landing page, but something where I'm getting their name and their email address. Okay? So if they're not willing to give me their email address, they're probably not going to be willing to give me the rest of the stuff. Okay? And so that's how we qualify our subscribers, is some kind of squeeze page. I'm sure you guys have probably seen those before. If not, I'm going to show you guys a bunch of them here in a minute, and you'll see it through ClickFunnels. But the squeeze page is the first step. I'm going to take all this traffic, find out who is willing to give me their email address. Yep. The other interesting thing, this is kind of a side note, but Jeremy Shoemaker did a really cool test a little while ago. I think it's in .com Secrets Labs. But he found out after like 2 or 3 years of testing subscribers, because everyone's got a couple email addresses, right? Most of us have a couple. He started, when there's tools you can use, somebody subscribes, you can go out there and take their email address and find out if they're on Facebook and Twitter and all their social networks. But he found that somebody who used their Facebook email address, on average would make him $80 per year. And someone that used a fake email address, or just an email address that was not tied to their Facebook account, they only averaged $1 per year. Isn't that crazy? So there's an argument there for making people opt in through Facebook email address because of the value of that person. In fact, in his company now, he was telling me that if they come in and it's not a Facebook email address, they don't even add them to the list. They just like, all right, well, they don't even care. So it's interesting. But that's my first goal. I want to qualify and find out my subscribers. Okay. Now my next goal, and this one's even more important. In fact, sometimes recently we've even a lot of times skipped a subscriber because of this. But my next goal is I want to find out of all the people coming to my site, who of these people is not just a looky-loo person, but who is willing to pull out their credit card and buy something. Okay? The person that'll do that that's the best person in the world. Okay? If you remember yesterday I talked about Dan Kennedy saying a buyer is a buyer is a buyer. So I want to find out all these people I'm sending to my site as quick as humanly possible and find out who are my buyers. Because as soon as I know they're willing to pull a credit card out, I know something about them. I know that they're a buyer. And if they're a buyer, I'm going to be able to sell them a lot more stuff. Okay, and I'm probably going to market to somebody who's a buyer a lot differently than I'm going to market to somebody who's not a buyer. Okay? You guys who bought stuff from me get different sequences, different emails, different packets, different things because you raised your hand and said, Russell, I am a buyer. Awesome. Let's go sell you stuff in a different way. Okay, so you start looking at this. When someone's coming in and they're opting in, I'm going to send them an email sequence. They come in and they give me a little bit of money. They pull a credit card out. I might call them on the phone. I might send them a direct mail piece, maybe a postcard. I might do a whole bunch of different things because they've raised their hand and showed me that they're a buyer. Like I want from day number 1 for you to know the relationship is you come in and you give me money, I give you cool stuff back. So I want to set those ground rules from day 1. And if you do that, you train people from the very beginning, they're going to keep buying, keep buying, keep buying. Okay? And so I'm going to show you guys the process we use to qualify buyers, but man, that's the biggest thing. And like I said, a lot of people nowadays, they don't even worry about subscribers. And I don't even want to market to subscribers anymore. I only want to do buyers. And I kind of argue both ways on that. But this is the key, qualifying buyers as quick as you can. Because as soon as you know what the buyers are, you can start doing a whole bunch of different things. Okay? Now the next step is after I know who the buyers are, I want to identify my buyers in heat. Okay, this is a totally inappropriate story, but do you guys know anything about porcupines? So a porcupine, so they say, I don't actually have a porcupine, so I'm not sure, but once a year, for about a 24-hour period of time, porcupines are in heat. And when they're in heat, they've got 24 hours to do their business as many times as they can, and then after that, they're done. Okay? I told you guys a story yesterday about my bowling experience. That night I had some pain, and I was a porcupine in heat. And for the next 20 minutes, I bought everything I could find to solve that pain. And then I disappeared. I was gone, right? But you guys, you have to understand that the people that are coming to your website, they're in pain. They're trying to get a solution solved. And so my first goal is to find out who the buyers are. My second one is I want to find out who are my buyers in heat. Who are the ones that are hyperactive buyers, okay? And these are the best ones. I'm guessing a lot of you guys are probably those hyperactive buyers. That's why you're probably here at this point, okay? So I want to find out who are my buyers in heat. Because those are the people that are not just a buyer, but they're like a great buyer, okay? They're people like me who will spend insane amounts of money. So as soon as they buy that first thing, and I want to find out who are my buyers in heat, so now I start offering them more stuff, okay? We have upsells, we have downsells, we have other things because I want to find out who are our best buyers. Okay, when we used to have our big call center and all we were doing was we were calling buyer leads, but we would grade our leads. So somebody who bought a front-end product, we would call that person a B lead. And somebody who bought one of the upsells, they're a hyperactive buyer. They're an A lead. The hyperactive buyers in heat right now, we're going to call them and sell them coaching as quick as humanly possible because we know that they're in pain now. In a week from now, he may not be bowling anymore. Okay, I might not be bowling anymore and I'm out of it. But right now, I'm in pain. If I were to get a call the next day from these bowling guys and like, hey man, so tell me about the game yesterday. I'm like, oh, I hate that guy. He beat me. Okay, I got a bowling coaching program. In 3 weeks from now, you're going to be the best bowler in the world. Boom, I would have been in. If you called me a week later, I might not have been in. But I would have been in right then, right? So I want to find out who my buyers are in heat really, really quickly so I can market them differently as well. Okay, so we're all talking about segments. We've got our subscriber segments, buyer and heat segments. And we're going through all these different things, right? So far, everything I've showed you guys is all point of sale. Somebody clicks on the ad, they're going through pre-frame, subscribers, buyers, and upsells. The first 5 steps are all happening like in real time, point of sale right now, okay? And steps number 6 and 7 are all happening after the initial sell. This is the stuff, Clint was asking this yesterday. He was talking about like when do you bring the attractive character into this conversation with people? What's happening typically is we're driving traffic, they're going through my initial funnel, right? Here's my product, my upsell, my downsell, and then boom. So this all happened like in half an hour period of time. Now they're on my list. And this is kind of where I start introducing my attractive character. Like, hey man, thanks for joining my list. And I'm going to show you guys tomorrow, I'll show you the exact sequences we send out to people when they join your list. So you'll see exactly what emails we're sending out to build the attractive character. But that's when the attractive character starts. They've come through this initial funnel. They put a little bit of faith in. They've shown their hand as a buyer. Now I'm going to start this follow-up sequence to introduce them to the attractive character, to build that relationship. All those things that we talked about yesterday will be happening right here. And now they're here at this point. Now I'm building this relationship. My next step on number 6 is I need to age and ascend that relationship. Okay? So what just happened, the first 5 steps is, if you look in the dating world, you went out, somebody introduced you to their friend, you met her, okay, you got her phone number, you qualified her as a subscriber, you gave her a kiss, you qualified her as a buyer, she kissed you back, she's a hyperactive buyer. All right, this is a good thing, right? So now we got to age and ascend that relationship. So now what's the next steps I'm going to do with that person? Okay, now the possibilities are endless. You can do all sorts of stuff. And we'll show you tons of things we do. One thing we can do is a webinar with them. Okay, I'm going to take them on a webinar, teach them some cool stuff, and sell them stuff. Okay, another thing is I'm going to maybe do a teleseminar. Maybe have a new product I'm coming out with. A whole bunch of things you can do. Okay, if you come back to this thing right here, typically after they've gone through this funnel, they're starting to ascend. They're starting to warm up from here to here. And so now you can start introducing people more directly to your product, right? We're warming that traffic up. They're building that relationship with you. You're educating them. You're training them. And you're transitioning these people up to make them more and more aware of what you can do and how you can serve them. Yeah. Okay, so this question was, how do we segment people and how do we move them from list to list? It all depends on the service you use. Different autoresponders can do that. Some can't do that. But yeah, that is what happens. Somebody comes in and they subscribe. When they buy, you can move them from one list to another. Aweber lets you move people to the list. I think most of the good autoresponders nowadays allow you to move somebody from list to list based on actions. Somebody buys something, they click on something, you can move them around. And we'll talk more about that tomorrow when I actually go through the sequences we take people through, like the actual email sequences and how we do ours. But yeah, that's pretty much what we do. Okay, and so there's a bunch of different ways we age and send that relationship. But really, after they're on your list, this is the fun part. This is where it's just like every month for us, like, what should we do? Like, okay, well, let's do an invisible funnel type funnel. Okay, and I'll talk to you guys about that here before lunch. Or maybe I'm going to do like a black box type funnel to these guys. I know them, I like them, we'll try that. Oh, or maybe I'm going to do a micro continuity funnel to these guys. Or maybe I'm going to do this one. I'm going to show you guys our 9 core funnels. But I'm always just kind of each month or every couple of weeks, like, I'm going to try this one out. Because they already know me, they like me, we're on a date. I'm going to take her to the fair. We're going to go to watch a movie. There's a whole bunch of different things you can do with this person, right? As you're aging and ascending that relationship, okay? And that lasts for as long as you want. And then step number 7, this is where you change the selling environment. This is where you go from being just friends to hopefully becoming married. I don't know how to say that. This is where the next step, right? So this is in the process where you guys are at for us, okay? You've been buying stuff online, you've been going through these processes, and now I wanted to change the environment. How do we serve you? How do we affect you in a different way? Okay? It's very, very, very difficult. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but pretty much impossible for you to sell a $25,000 program online. I can send you the best sales video in the world. I guarantee none of you guys are going to drop $25,000 on a credit card, right? I've got to change the selling environment to make that possible. Now, the ways I do that, there's a couple ways to do that. One is you do an event like this. Okay, you get to Bendel's event, you bring a bunch of people in the room, you teach them, and you change the environment, and now I can easily sell you. If I was trying to pitch you guys on something this weekend, I promise you I could close you on it. I'm not going to, I don't have any plans to, but I could. Okay, you've seen this in tons of markets. They bring people, do big events, they teach, educate, and then boom, they sell them stuff. I've got a friend who sells a $100,000 package. Very first event she did, she brought in, 500 women. She did her presentation, she sold a $100,000 package. She had 24 people sign up for it. She turned 9 of them away. Is that crazy? Now, she couldn't have done it through email. Maybe she could. She's pretty amazing. I couldn't. But you change the selling environment, you can do all sorts of stuff. Okay? When people leave their comfort zone, they'll do all sorts of different things. What you have to understand is that people are they're sitting behind their computer all day in their comfort zone, right? That's why when you go to blogs and Facebook, people are like, they're very comfortable like yelling and cursing you out. Like, oh, Russell, I hate you. You're blah, blah, blah. But I guarantee they stood in front of me, they're not going to talk to me that way. Right? You change the environment, you change the relationship. So you want to get your people in a different environment. Different ways to do that. One is events. Some people love events. One is on the phone. Okay? A lot of different ways to do that, but changing that environment changes how you can sell that person. Okay? If I'm going to go propose to a girl, I'm not going to do it through email. I'm not going to text her. I'm going to take her to a different environment. We're going to make it really special. It's going to be awesome. She's going to have a great experience, and then I'm going to pop the question. Okay? Same thing in marketing. Okay? And that is the lifeline of a lead. That makes sense, you guys? Cool. All right, so those are all the pieces that we take someone through. Now, before I kind of go deeper and show you guys all the different pages for each one, there's a concept I want to explain because this was like probably, if not the biggest change in our business, one of the biggest changes we've ever had. Was when I understood this, and it's a concept I call the 100 visitor test. Here's a picture of what it looks like. So this is something, we've tested this a lot, and the very first time I think we saw the impact of it was probably 6 years ago. We had a product called Micro Continuity where we're giving away free MP3 players. Who here got one of those free MP3 players? Is that awesome? You guys are here now. That's so cool. That was a long time ago. This is the concept. We started looking at how we drive traffic, right? How we qualify our buyers. And before, I was always selling products for $67 on the front end and $97, all these high-ticket things. And I started looking at my funnel, and I realized my goal is I want to get, like a lot of times people talk, we just might call them funnels, because usually it looks like this, right? Here's a funnel. Up here is my front-end product, then down here is this, and down here is like my super high expensive product. And so you bring a ton of people in the top, maybe you get 1,000 by this one, and then you get 500 by this, and then 200, then 100, then 10, right? That's why we call it sales funnels, okay? And so I was looking at all my products. All my products, like the very first thing was like $37, or it was $97. And so I drive a bunch of traffic down here, and then I may get 100 people here, and then 10, and then 3, and then 1, and then none. And I was like, if I want to put a ton of people through my funnel, like why am I putting this big dam in the way, right? I'm trying to have this river I want as many people as possible here, and I have this huge price point, this huge dam that's keeping people from progressing. And then only like a little bit trickles through, and I never get deep enough to really grow my business the way I want. And so we had this idea, and we found these guys in Hong Kong that made these little MP3 players, and I took 6 hours of one of my seminars, put it on there, and we did the seminar, and we made it free plus shipping. You get this MP3 player for free. We'll ship it out to you, and you just pay, I think it was like $7 shipping and handling, and we'll ship it out to you. So that was kind of the process. We got rid of this dam and just made it so that the barrier to get in initially was so light that just tons of people came in. And literally it just transformed our entire company. You think about it like we're trying to find out who all these buyers are. If I can create something that's so simple and so easy, but it's so irresistible that anyone who's even has any inkling of buying is going to buy it, boom, I got them. Okay? And so I want to show you guys just some examples. Oh, excuse me. So let me come back to this real quick. So here's the 100 visitor test. So we went through, and this is a ton of data based off of, it wasn't just 100 visitors I sent, but to break it down in simple numbers, we sent a ton of people through, and out of 100 visitors selling one of our front-end $197 products, we averaged about 1% conversion rate. Okay, now, and for me to write a sales letter to sell a $197 product, it had to be a dang good sales letter to get 1% conversion rate. That's an expensive product to sell. It took me a ton of time and effort and energy. We go through this process, and from that we got about 1% conversion rate, okay, which I was really proud of. So we made $197 on this process. Okay, then we decided, let's tweak this model and let's test this concept out. So we changed it. We took those 100 visitors, we sent them to an offer that was free plus shipping, and then afterwards we upsold them the exact same $197 offer, and then we wanted to see what would happen. And then what was interesting, by the way, is the way we the sales letter for a $197 upsell is about 1/10 as long as the initial one. It's way easier to write, takes almost no effort, and I'll show you guys the script we use that in a minute, or tomorrow. But when people through the process, on average, we're averaging about 8% of the people that take us on the free plus shipping thing. And then what happens is really interesting in psychology. When people start on a process, as soon as they say the very first yes, it's easier for them to say the second yes, and the third, and the fourth, and the fifth. Can we even see this from like, and I'll show you guys this when we do pre-framing stuff in a minute here, but one of our guys in one of my other mastermind groups, they do these little quizzes on the front end of their funnels. And they had this webinar that was doing pretty well, but not like quite at break even yet. And they added this quiz on the front end. It was just a fake quiz. Didn't do anything. And you just come through, you click 3 or 4 buttons, boom, 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 and then you see the webinar. And just by having this fake quiz on the front of it, they increased their conversions by more than double. Okay? I was like, why do you think that is? He's like, because as soon as they click that first button, they said their first yes. And they click yes, yes, yes. Hey, buy my thing. All right, sure, I'm in. Okay? And so as soon as somebody says yes to that very first thing, for them to say yes to the next thing, they've already said, yes, Russell, this concept you just gave me is awesome. I want to test it out. Here's my credit card. The next yes is like, all right, I'll try that out too. Okay? It's very, very simple. The first yes is the hardest. So let's remove all barriers of entry, make that as super easy as possible. The second yes is super easy. Okay? If you look at most of our offers nowadays, if you guys notice, they've all been free plus shipping things on the front. There's a reason. Because I just got to get them to say that very first yes, and then a fourth one will say yes to the second yes, and the third yes, and the fourth yes. And so you want to lower that barrier of entry. You look at this whole thing, what happened? A couple things. First off, we made twice as much money from this funnel. And second off, we got 8 buyers instead of 1. And I got 8 people I can start selling my other things and all these other, I have this different relationship with them. Okay? We are able to sell more people on the phone in the back. Like everything else changes as soon as we started implementing this. Okay? So the 100 visitor test is the key. And so I want to show you guys, because I'm going to make a strong argument that all you guys should be doing free plus shipping stuff, because I think I don't care what market you're in, I think that it's the smartest thing. So I'm going to show you guys a couple examples of stuff. And I think the other people right now that are doing this really, really well is Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher are doing really good. And this is an example of one of their offers they put out last year. Anyone see this offer? Free credit card knife. Anyone buy this thing? You got one? You got it with you, don't you? Did you make it through the plane with it? Oh, you drove, huh? I haven't dared to take it on the plane. I'm curious. But it's just this little credit card knife. And then when someone attacks my house and the impending apocalypse comes, I whip it out, I fold the credit card knife, boom, I got my weapon to kill people, right? Pretty dumb, right? Okay. In about 5 seconds, you're going to think it's the most brilliant thing you've ever seen in your life. So last year, they took this little thing, they put it up on Facebook. It was free plus shipping. They charged $3 shipping and handling for it. They put it out there. Month number 1, they sold 130,000 of these on Facebook. No affiliates, just posted on Facebook. 130,000 new buyers into their funnel. From that, they had upselled a $20 a month continuity. I don't know the exact numbers, but I would guess I guess on the low end, maybe 20% of those bought that. So what would an extra 20,000 people on your continuity do for you guys? And then they upsold another product. That was in 1 month from a little free plus shipping thing. Okay, the same product that they were selling before on the front end, they couldn't get people to buy it. I was talking to them. They said before they added this offer, their survival company was doing about $20,000 to $30,000 a month. They couldn't break through that. They added this thing in, and boom, it exploded. Right now they're doing over $1 million a month in their survival business. Because so far they've got, I think, 350,000 people that bought, 350,000 buyers on their list, and $1 million a month. Okay, just because of changing around a couple things. Is that cool? So let me show you in our business a couple things we're doing. Well, let me show a couple. Here's some other ones. Any of you guys know Frank Kern? Frank Kern's doing this right now. Here's Frank Kern's 2 most recent books that he did free plus shipping. It was interesting. We talked about yesterday, right? Who do you want to attract, and what's the bait you're going to give them? So I know for a fact Frank is trying to get speakers, authors, and consultants. That's what he wants to sell on his high-ticket stuff. So what does he do? He creates a book called How I Created a $175,000 per month consulting business in 90 days. Okay, do you think any consultants would go after this? Do you think only consultants would go after this? Only his dream client would go after this? Yeah. He engineered the bait that would attract the exact dream person he wanted. Okay? His next one, Convert, a simple little formula that sold $50 million worth of products and services online. You read the copy for this, guess who he's targeting? Same people, the speakers, authors, and consultants that he wanted. Okay, you create the right bait, you get the right person coming back in. Okay, both of these books, by the way, were a 1-hour webinar he did, and then they transcribed them. So if you think you have to write a book, you don't. It's just talk for an hour, then transcribe it. Anyway, those are 2 of Frank's. They're really good. Let's see. Here's the most recent one that we did, 108 proven split test winners. This one we put a lot of time and effort into. But it was interesting, the story behind this. So we ran a print newsletter. Well, we ran one for 7 or 8 years. And about a year ago, we decided, let's just change it. All of our newsletters are going to be is every month we'll give out 20 of our best split tests. So we launched that, and it was $97 a month. And we sold it, boom, boom. And we had this dam where people were like, God, $97 a month, $97 a month. And we pushed this thing so hard. Within a couple months, I think we had 250 people signed up for it. And I was just like, this should be making us so much, like this is like our best stuff in the world. And just I couldn't get enough people in to even buy it. It was making no effect on our business. We were making 20, 25 grand a month off it. It wasn't enough to even to really do much for us, right? And then one day we kind of had this idea, like what if we took all the last 7 or 8 issues that we did, take all the best tests and put them into one book, and then just sold that. And we're like, yeah, we should do that. And I was like, we could probably sell for at least $197. That'd be pretty easy. And then one day, I don't know what happened. I had this epiphany, like, what if we just gave it away for free? And I was like, no, we can't do that. That's our best product. We don't give it away for free. I said, but what if we did? What if we just freaking blew everyone's mind and gave our best product away for free? No, we can't do that. We can't do that. And then the next day came back. But if we did, and all of our dream clients had our best product in their hand, they'd probably want to buy more stuff from us, right? If we just completely over-delivered and just did the awesomest, coolest thing in the world, they'd probably want more, right? We should do it. Anyway, it was 4 or 5 days going back and forth, and finally we're like, screw it. Let's just give away for free. Let's just do the unthinkable, and just our best thing in the world is give away for free and just see what happens. So we put it out there, super scared. We ordered 1,000 of them. Cost us probably, almost 10 grand to print 1,000 of these things, and we're giving away for free, and we decided to put it out there, and we launched this thing, and within 3 days, the first 1,000 copies were gone. Boom. And our barrier of entry was so small, and what was interesting is that we had pause the campaigns, reorder, it was just this, we were freaking out, so we reordered stuff, tweaked the upsells were working all right, we tried to tweak some stuff, and we launched it again for our next 1,000, sold out again 2 or 3 days, and we paused it again, and we've sold this thing out 3 or 4 times. I think we sold 6,000 or 7,000 copies without asking a single affiliate to ever promote it, just from our own list and from Facebook. People are going crazy for it. And the coolest thing about this is that every single person who gets this, because it's so good, it sits on their desk next to the computer all the time. So literally every single day, my dream clients see my product every single day. They see my name it's just sitting there. It's on my desk. I have one on my house next to my, it's so good that I look at it almost every single day. I know that everyone else is doing that as well. And I can't tell you how many people, my guess is that most of you guys in this room, if you came through this funnel, I would guess most of you guys did come through this funnel. Because prior to having this offer, we had the wrong bait. We were getting the wrong clients. When we switched this, again, someone who's like a business opportunity person would see this and not know what in the world it was, right? Because where are they at? Our old clients were very much over here. They were problem aware, how to make money, how to make money. That's what we were focusing on. But I didn't like those clients. I didn't want to spend time with them. I wanted to spend time with people over here. So I created the bait to put out there. And again, the person who has the website sees this, and it's perfect. It's the bait they want. And that's the person I wanted to get. And that's how you guys all got here today. Okay? So there's a good example. Do you have the samples of some of the ones too, Brent? So I'll show you guys a couple other ones that we've got. So one of them, so our weight loss offer, I think I showed you guys yesterday, our sales funnel, that everything's working except for the front end offer. So like, we need to do a new front end offer. And so we kind of put together this little diet. It's called the Skinny Bean Diet. And our gurus for this business, they went to their home kitchen and they set up a video camera and they made a 20 or 30-minute video of them making their Skinny Bean workout diet shake thing. And we put it there, and it's got the instructions inside here. And it's just a little 30-minute DVD explaining how that whole thing works. So Brent's going to hand you guys out. We don't have a lot, but if you can pass them around, just kind of see it. So there's one for our weight loss space. For the MLM world, this is one we're about to launch here because I want to get a lot of network marketing people into ClickFunnels. So if I want network marketing people, what do? I create bait that attracts network marketing people. So boom, second upline. Anyone who's network marketing knows that your upline sucks, so I'm going to become your second upline. I'm going to show you how I got 7,498 paid members in 45 days. There's my bait. Okay, this makes network marketers go crazy. And if it's free plus shipping, I can get every network marketer in the world come to me, right? And think about stuff John talked about yesterday. I can go onto Facebook and I can target companies like Visalis. And I can see all of their distributors in about 5 seconds. I can go to all the Visalis people. Hey, you struggling in Visalis? Here's some bait. Check it out. There's the pond I'm fishing in. Boom, and get all the Visalis distributors on my list. Then I can go to Vima. Hey, all the Vima distributors. Let me throw my net out there. Boom. Manatech. Boom. And I can go company after company after company, get all their distributors, throw my bait in there, and start getting them. Is all this stuff kind of making sense? All the stuff we talked about yesterday, these congregations? When I know where the congregations are at, they're all on Facebook. They're all grouped together. Let me throw my bait in there. Boom. Start sucking them out. Okay? With this one, all I'm doing is I'm going to every single weight loss guru out there, going to all their fan pages. Okay, oh, this guy's got 1 million people. Sweet, let me throw my bait out there. Boom, start pulling them out. Yep. Skinny Bean was not enough. So good question. So I'll talk about some of the resources we used. Skinny Bean was different because we had this little booklet in the front of them. So it was another company. I don't know the name, but I can get it for you. Delivered is a company we use that does these, like they did Second Upline one and a couple other ones. They're printed on demand. So the other cool thing about these front ends, you guys, sometimes they don't work, right? And I don't want to spend a year or 2 years trying something out and have it not work. So I create something really quick like this. A company called Delivered. You just send them the image. You send them mail them your DVD, your CD, whatever it is, and then it's print on demand. So I don't have to pay. I don't print any of these unless I sell them. So somebody buys it. I let them know. They charge me $5 or $6, and they mail it out to the person. So it's nice. So my entire risk on a free plus shipping front end thing is $5, right? And so it's really nice. I can test it. If this doesn't work, sweet. Let's make another one. Oh, it didn't work. Make another one. Boom, boom. And just kind of really quickly I can go through until I find the right hook, the right message. Now we can blow it up. Joey? So his question is, what should your bait look like? Like, should it be the same as like what you're upselling, stuff like that, or should it be different? So yesterday, you remember I was talking about the one thing? So typically, if you look at like my sales funnel or whatever you want to call it, like this thing I want to teach, this is for you. It's your Worthy to Win coaching program, right? That we're going to help you raise your prices from $1,500 to $15,000. So what I'm going to do for my front end is I'm not going to teach the whole thing, but I'm going to find the one thing. What's the one sexiest, most cool thing of my entire program? And I'm going to pull out that one thing. Okay? So my second upline, I have a whole bunch of cool things I help network marketers with, but I'm showing them just the one thing, which is how to get leads. That's the one thing they want. Okay? Skinny Bean, I can show them a whole bunch of ways to change their life. There's just one thing I want, how to make this one shake that's magic. Okay? So you pick out the one thing that's the core thing and just focus on that. So how to make potato guns, kind of like my baby for the last however many years. Like the one, every time we launch a new like funnel, I always test it out here first. So what's cool is this is a DVD we got, and we're doing free plus shipping on this now. So this is the free plus shipping, and then we're upselling a whole bunch of potato gun plans, and we're upselling actual physical. I found a guy who drop shipped potato guns for me. So we're doing the exact same thing with this to get more people in the front. Think of any other examples to show you guys. Oh, I've got one more. This is exciting. This is one that might be a big aha for a couple of you guys. If I can find it, I just had it like, here it is. So I went to the office this morning, right before I got here to grab my credit card. I have a couple things. And what's cool is, who here saw me do my webinar, High Ticket Secrets, about a month ago? Were you guys on that webinar? So I did that webinar, and the webinar turned out awesome. At the end of it, we sold a ton of stuff, made a bunch of money. It was really, really cool. And I'm turning that webinar into an automated webinar. We'll talk about that funnel here in a minute. But the other thing I did is I was like, that webinar is awesome. People who watch it give me money. How else can I get them to watch it? So I took that webinar and I sent it to Just Delivered, and now that webinar showed up today on a free DVD. So not only am I going to be like, hey, go register for my webinar, what if I'm like, hey, you want to go and get this free DVD, show you the two simple pages that will instantly double your sales and 10 times your profit without picking up the phone. All this is a recording of my webinar I just did, my sales webinar where I sold the product. The exact same thing. Does that give any of you guys an aha? Someone's smiling up here. Okay? Repurpose the stuff. The sales tools you're using, this is a sales tool, but it's a hook to get somebody to take action, right? Some companies, like the more B2B, you've got white papers. Like, why do you do white paper? Make it free plus shipping and ship them out this thing that's going to be, I want to get people to pull their credit card out of their wallet and prove they're a buyer, so we can change that relationship, so we can help them, serve them, and send them up through the 7 steps. Okay? So anytime you do a webinar to sell something, take that webinar afterwards, boom, make a free CD. Because the other thing is interesting, if you look at like again, I will be selling an automated webinar version, I will be promoting the automated webinar version of this presentation because it did really well. And I'll push that for a while, but offers go stale, right? For only so long it's going to work, and after a while it'll start dropping down, and they'll come out, hey, here's a free DVD teaching the same thing. Okay, look at Frank Kern. This was a webinar he did where he went and sold how he created $175,000 per month consulting business in 90 days. He did a webinar, ran it until he got tired of running it. Then he got it transcribed and made it a book, and that's a whole new offer, whole new audience, more people all come in through his funnel. Okay? So you can repurpose the stuff you're doing. You can do it once, do it twice, and keep doing it over and over and over again. Okay? Okay, I'm going to tell you something that's really sad, but it's true. So I told this to the mastermind group 2 days ago. The other sad thing about this is, for those of you guys who are so concerned about my content's not going to be perfect or what if, the sad reality is the majority of the people will never actually watch or listen to it anyway. We had one of our very first free plus shipping offers was a DVD, and we sold over 10,000 copies of it in a year. And I remember one day we got a call from a lady saying, I'm trying to watch the DVD, it's not working. We're like, oh, that's weird. So ship her out another one. So ship her another one. Call back 3 days later, hey, I got a new one, doesn't work either. We're like, ship out another one. Ship out another one. Calls back a couple days later, it's not working. Like, it's not working. So we go to the fulfillment house, start putting them in. None of them worked. The printing house forgot to burn the actual video on the thing. 10,000 people, only one person ever called. So, I don't know. The reality, though, is, you guys, you'll make money whether they consume it or not. The key is the hook to get them in. So don't be so stressed out. This thing's got to be perfect. Because, yeah, make it good. You want it to be the best if you've got. But it's not that important. And like you said, let's say we launch this and it bombs. I can just change the hook on the front. It's the same content. I change the hook a little bit. Maybe the 2 simple pages is not what sells them. Maybe it's the mini call center. So I change the headline on this, boom, new offer. Just tweak it really, really quick. Great question. So this question was, do you ever have the issue where someone wants to watch the free DVD before they buy the upsell? If you structure your upsell where it's more of the same, you will have that issue every single day. Okay? It has 100% to do with how you structure your upsell process. We'll talk more about that tomorrow a little bit with the scripting, but the key is you never want your upsell, even if it is more of the same, you can't sell it that way. Because they're like, because they just bought this thing thinking it's the greatest thing since sliced bread. I just bought this thing because I'm going to learn to get 7,000 leads. And my next thing is like, okay, thanks for buying the free DVD. I'm going to do a webinar showing how to get 7,000 leads. Like, that's what I just got. Like, yeah, that's when you hit that issue. But you change it where this is the webinar I get 7,000 leads, and the upsell is now like, hey, you got all the tools you need to get 7,000 leads. Let me show you the next step in the process. The next thing you need is this. Also, they're like, oh, cool, I need that too. So it's all how you structure the upsell flow. And again, we'll talk more about that when we're doing the copy stuff tomorrow. But if you're selling more of the same, every time I've ever done more of the same, it just bombs. Every time I do the next step, it's great. Like this right here, discdelivered.com is the company we use. It's $50 to get the account set up. If you use our code, which is like coupon code .com-secrets, it knocks the price in half. So it's $50, and then after that, it's just print on demand. So you pay, I think it's $5.95 US and $7.95 international. So that's how we normally test it. Now, if you go back to those guys afterwards, and you know this offer is doing really, really well for you, and you're selling 1,000 a month or whatever, you can come back to them and say, hey, I want to pre-order 1,000 at a time, and the price will drop like almost in half. But initially, just do print on demand to test it out and make sure that it's actually going to work before you ever go and buy a ton of it. Okay? And the word free is the magic thing in there. A lot of people are like, well, Russell, I don't want to ship a free DVD. What if I just charge them $5 for it? Or what if I just get them for free? Two things. You need to charge them because you're trying to get them to pull their credit card out. You want to find out who the buyers are. That's key. And the reason why I want to ship something to somebody is because the word free is the most magical word in marketing. Okay? It sounds cheesy, overhyped, whatever. It's magic. Really good story behind free. If you've ever read the book Predictably Irrational, he did a really cool test in there where he basically, I'll probably slaughter the numbers, but the concept is the same. They had like these Hershey Kisses. Look like a Hershey Kiss? No, I wasn't even close. There's a Hershey Kiss, right? And they had those Lindt chocolates, right? So Hershey Kisses are like the bottom of the chocolate chain, right? They suck. They're just kind of like, oh, I got nothing else to eat. I'll eat some Hershey Kisses. And then you got like Lindt chocolates, which are like the high end, like the best stuff, right? And so they took people through like a cafeteria line or something like that. They'd take people through, and at the end they would offer them both of these. And I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it was like 1 cent for these, right? And 25 cents for these. Is that right? 15, something like that, right? And so driving all these people through, and the majority of the people were taking this guy, right? And so like, okay, let's do some price testing. So let's drop this. Let's make these free. So now it's 0, it's free. We'll drop these by 1 cent as well. So now these are 24 cents. What happens? And all of a sudden it shifts from like 80% of people taking this to 80% of people take that because it's free. So like, okay, 1 cent difference made that big a shift. Let's try it the other way. So let's make this 2 cents and 26 cents, and it shifts back over to here. Okay, just the word free is magic. So when I'm on Facebook and I'm targeting, what's the P90X dude, right? So I'm targeting the P90X, his entire audience of 100 or a million Facebook fans. I'm throwing my bait in there. I want to be like, hey guys, you like P90X? It's expensive, right? I got this free skinny bean diet. This thing works way better. It's easier. It's faster. It's free. Come on, just come get it. It's free. You're like, all right, might as well. And they come in and boom, I've got them. I've pulled them from where they're at. Now that I've got them, now they pulled their credit card out, now I can take them where I want to take them. That makes sense, you guys? So that's my philosophy. I still think it's the best. It depends. So our question is, in the ad you say it's free plus shipping. It depends on the ad. Some ads you have a banner ad where you don't have much space. Other ones you have a video. So like our Facebook ad that sells this. You guys have probably seen the video. I'm targeting all of you guys. Unless you bought it, then maybe you're not. But there's a video of me in my office wearing my t-shirt, and I'm like, hey guys, I just got this book. It's awesome. And right here you get this, and you get this. And there's a little video on YouTube that says that, right? I literally made that video with my iPhone, made it really quick, threw it up there. We've been running it for a month and a half, 2 months. It keeps working. And in there I do say, like, just cover $10, ship it out to you, and other than that, it's free. So in there I say it. So it kind of just depends. But when they come to the page, I'm very, very specific. Like, you got to pay shipping. But sometimes the ad you can't. That's a great question. Sweet Shot. We haven't, so back before, the microcontinuity days, we used to test a lot of stuff. We found if you keep it like under $4, like $4.95, like under $5 is good, and then under $10. If you go above $10, you start seeing big stuff. But there wasn't a ton of difference between 9 and 4. So what we do typically is like, for the book, just our costs on this book are so expensive. We do like $9.95 US and whatever, a little more international. But on all the DVDs, we usually do $4.95. And we're losing money on both of them no matter what. You know, it's the whole like amateurs focus on the front end. We're going to lose money no matter what on them. Just how much do you want to lose? The lower you can handle your shipping being, the better it's going to be. But at the same time, as long as you keep it under $10, it's not, at least in my experience, hasn't been big enough of a change to really affect it. So I know Zan had probably a little different experience. They were shipping out bracelets and stuff, where like the cost of shipping was like as much as like a real bracelet. So they had to do a lot lower shipping to make other people went to it. So a lot of it depends on your offer as well. But I think for info products, DVDs, books, I think anywhere from $5 to $10, as long as you're below that, it shouldn't have too big of a change. Any other questions about that? Yeah, free. So he was saying for the camera, he said he uses medium mail to ship them, and the price is like half as if you send them regular. Now the other thing I want to talk about, just because David asked a question about yesterday, but it works really good, is, like, should I do direct mail to my customers? Okay, now some of them have shown they're a buyer, you definitely should do direct mail to them. The problem is direct mail costs money, right? And it's scary. So I always look at it when somebody is a buyer, I want them to finance my direct mail campaign to them. Okay, so somebody pays me $9.95 for this book. I'm giving them the book, but they're financing my direct mail campaign. So in this package comes a 4-page sales letter that sells people into my $25,000 program. Okay? And so we're letting our customers finance this direct mail thing to them as well. That's the other cool thing about free plus shipping is you can use that as a tool to get your sales message into their hands. Okay? And in this case, this one's just a webinar, so if they watch it, that's also a sales message. But I'm basically getting them to finance my direct mail. Okay? Because direct mail can get expensive, but if you're just using it as a follow along, it works awesome. There's no additional, there's a little additional cost, a little more paper, but it works awesome.